Hello, I'm Chief Deputy Tom Wells from the Anoka County Sheriff's Office. On behalf of Sheriff James Stewart, I want to thank everyone for being here today and taking part of a ceremony to honor and remember the law enforcement officers that have been killed in the line of duty. I'd like to acknowledge some of the elected officials that are here today, Commissioner Brasted, County Attorney Tony Palumbo, and also our law enforcement partners that are here, and Commissioner Gamache, sitting next to the County Attorney. Thank you for all being here. As we begin today's ceremony, please stand for the presentation of the colors.
Officers! On and who? Forward, off. Post. Post. Officers and honor guard, present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright star through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Officers and honor guard, order, arms. Honor guard, ready, face. Close ranks, march. Order, on.
Thank you.
Officers and honor guard, parade, rest.
You may be seated. Across our nation, there are more than 900,000 Americans that have sworn an oath to become law enforcement officers. They dedicate their lives to protect and serve the citizens of this great country. On average, one law enforcement officer is killed in the line of duty every 58 hours. Today, we gather to remember their sacrifices. In 2014, according to the National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund, 117 officers died in the line of duty. As we remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, we also acknowledge the officers across our country who each day accept the risks of this noble profession. Now I'll ask Chief Scott Nadeau from the Columbia Heights Police Department will read the Law Enforcement Memorial Prayer.
Dear Lord, law enforcement is not an easy task to do. yet there are many who choose to wear the shield. They serve each day to the oaths they swore are true, protecting and serving a safer, better world to build. Lord, now we gather to pay our deepest honor to those of our officers killed in the line of duty. It matters not the style of shield they wore, only that they served with pride and honor. Lord, all that matters is that they were one of us, serving wherever needed, from the richest mansion to the dirtiest alley. Confident and proud, highly honored by the people's trust, so they carried a shield, mindful of all of their sacred duties. Lord, you have called several of ours home to glory. The race with life for them is now done. Peace, blessed peace, in safety forever now with thee. Welcome now their rest in heaven for all eternity. May time never erase the sacrifices that were made. May no officer ever fall alone to lie cold in their grave. May those of us still serving remember well the price that they paid. May their memories stand forever as those who went down brave. Lord, give us the courage to carry on, to still live in care, to not be vengeful or bitter, to simply trust your word is true. May we always cover with pride the shield we wear, to honor all fallen officers whom we now commend to you.
Thank you, Chief Nadeau. Each year, we pay tribute to one of Anoka County's fallen officers. The officers standing with me today began the ceremony in a memorial procession of squad cars on Highway 10 from Sherburne County, near the location where an officer was shot and killed. This year, we are honoring Detention Deputy Richard Legler of the Anoka County Sheriff's Office. During the early morning hours on Saturday, August 9th, 1986, Richard Legler and fellow detention deputy Anthony Hesh were on their way to work at the Anoka County Jail. Detention Deputy Legler was driving his car with Anthony as a passenger. They were traveling eastbound on Highway 10 to Anoka. An unknown dark-colored compact car pulled alongside Detention Deputy Legler's vehicle, and a shot was fired. Detention Deputy Hesh heard an explosion and recalled that the car next to them pulled away at a high rate of speed. The shot that was fired from the fleeing car entered Detention Deputy Legler's driver's side window and struck him in the left arm. Richard told Anthony, "Oh my God, I've been shot." Deputy Legler struggled to pull the vehicle over the right side of the road. The round struck his left arm just behind his uniform patch and ultimately pierced his left lung. Anthony flagged down passing motorists who needed to drive to the nearest phone to call 911. An ambulance and several law enforcement agencies responded to the scene of the shooting. At approximately 5:30 a.m. that morning, Detention Deputy Richard Legler died from a single gunshot wound. The first medics on the scene stated there was nothing that could have been done to save him. As that scene was being processed, another shooting occurred at I-94 overpass in Rogers. It was reported that a male had driven his car on top of the overpass, got out of his vehicle, opened the hatchback, pulled out a Winchester level action rifle, fired one shot, killing himself. The male who committed suicide was identified as Patrick Lehmeyer, age 20, of St. Cloud. It was suspected that Lehmeyer was involved in the killing of Detention Deputy Legler. Lehmeyer's rifle and spent casings were taken to the BCA Crimes Lab for analysis. Ballistics concluded that the rifle found at Lehmeyer's suicide was the same one used to kill Deputy Legler. The investigation continued to determine if there was a connection between Legler and his killer. Legler's family members said that Richard was a quiet man who kept to himself, and they knew of no connections to Lehmeyer. They felt the shooting happened randomly and was very difficult for them to understand. The investigation revealed that Patrick Lehmeyer met his former girlfriend in St. Cloud that morning. He told her that he was leaving for Arizona to avoid jail time. She described him as being out of it when he left the apartment at 5:05 a.m. Patrick Lehmeyer may have seen the jail uniforms worn by Legler and Hesch. Seeing the uniformed men could have triggered the shooting, as no other cars had reported being shot out that morning. At the time of his death, detention deputy Legler, Richard Legler, was 38 years old and worked for the Anoka County Sheriff's Office for approximately 3 years. He was survived by his parents and his sister and brother-in-law. I would now like to introduce our keynote speaker today, our Sheriff of Anoka County, James Stewart.
Across our great nation, in 2014, 117 peace officers died while serving their communities. This week, their names will be added to the 20,538 names already carved in our hearts and on the Law Enforcement Memorial in Washington, D.C. So far in 2015, 42 of our protectors have died in the line of duty. In law enforcement circles, we have always paused to recognize those who have given the ultimate sacrifice, their lives, in service to others. Our protectors and their families are well aware of the inherent dangers of the job. They understand that on any given day, it might be necessary to lay down their own lives in order to protect another. Historically, our communities have also rallied alongside of our peacekeepers and even shared in the pain when an officer was violently taken from us. A few years ago, shortly after that fateful day we all refer to as 9/11, there were parades and celebrations for the officers, the heroes that walked the line for that city. Yet in recent months, we see videos of those same streets where citizens have lined up for those same officers, those same heroes, to literally spit on them and swear at them. Like most people, I found myself concerned by the events unfolding across our nation in recent months. Specifically, it troubles me greatly when I see individuals inspiring division between our citizenry and those who have sworn an oath to serve and protect those same citizens. These days, we look to Ferguson, Baltimore, New York, or Hattiesburg as examples and wonder what went wrong. The questions involved are numerous and legitimate, but the answers are highly complex. While I do not profess to know the intricacies of the police and community relations in those cities, the message sent to our nation's law enforcement has been disheartening. You see, I have had the opportunity over the course of my career to meet and work with law enforcement professionals from all across this region and all across our nation. And I can tell you with confidence that the vast majority of our nation's peacekeepers are honest, caring men and women of sound character. They're mothers and fathers, daughters and sons who have willingly raised their hands and swore an oath to serve others. They've also sworn an oath to protect others, even if that means that they may need to lay down their own lives to accomplish that task. It is not an easy job, and I am very appreciative of every one of our nation's peacekeepers who walk the line on our home front to maintain civility and protect our families. Having said that, I acknowledge that of the 900,000 law enforcement officers in our nation who engage in millions of contacts every single day, that there are mistakes made, that there are some who do not deserve to wear the badge. And as long as humans are involved in this process, there will be deficiencies involving character and unacceptable behavior. Any industry can illustrate that point, most on much larger scales than law enforcement. Please hear me clearly. Those individuals who would tarnish the badge must be held accountable and driven out of this honorable and noble profession. But within the law enforcement community, we have sought to improve our screening, our hiring, and our training standards to improve accountability and transparency, and ultimately to ensure that we hold ourselves to a higher standard in service to our communities. And the law enforcement community needs to continue raising the bar in service and committing to meet or exceed the expectations of our citizens that we proudly serve. However, we all own a portion of this systemic breakdown in current trends. We need to partner with our law enforcement for the good of our communities. As a society, we can support our protectors by understanding that they desire to serve and protect each and every one of us without malice. You see, if you actually take the time to look at the real statistical data across this nation, this is not about race. This is about perception. But because passion has filtered into the discussions due to perceived iniquities, the walls are up, the tempers are flaring, and the solutions are drawing further and further away, because perception is each person's own reality. So I ask today that you help me to cast a new perception and a new reality. It is a fairly easy one to embrace, especially if you care about people, about your community, and about our nation. The message needs to be that we are all in this together. We all need to come together to pursue positive outcomes. You see, I can stand here today and tell you honestly that I do not care about the color of your skin, your orientation, your gender, or any other thing that merely serves as a descriptor. Instead, I would say we, as a law enforcement community, only care and respond to your actions, about your contribution to or your attack on our society, typically based on the content of your character. We are all fortunate to live in a region where we have a long history of positive interactions with our law enforcement community. And similarly, I am privileged to serve as the sheriff in a county in which our law enforcement community works very well together, cares about our citizens, and strives to serve as ambassadors wherever we are able, while treating everyone with respect, equality, and fairness. We will continue to serve our citizens with pride, professionalism, and honor. And within the Sheriff's Office, we have a slogan, working together for positive change. Our law enforcement partners have joined us in this mission on many fronts. And it is my prayer that our citizens will also join us as we seek to embrace positive relationships and interactions so that Anoka County continues to set the example for others to follow. But these are difficult times. Our protectors encounter hate on a daily basis. They are immersed in criticism. They generally feel a lack of support. I don't think this is truly a national epidemic yet, but remember, perception is reality, and it is having a distinct impact on our law enforcement community. We as a nation need to consider the long-term ramifications of systematically dehumanizing and demonizing those who have willingly chosen to accept a calling to serve us. My concern is that in the long run, those that are called to serve will ignore the calling. The good-hearted people I've been speaking about will no longer desire the responsibility if their service is literally spat upon. The successful future of law enforcement is critical and will have an impact, a direct impact on the future of America. And we must work together to ensure that this intertwined path serves our citizens well. That is why we must resist creating systemic distrust of our nation's law enforcement that is wrong and misguided. We need our leaders to step up and lead in positive directions. We need citizens to unite and work with our law enforcement to pursue positive change. And good people need to stop being silent. We collectively need to become intolerant of intolerance. Ponder that for a second. You see, we need to come together. And those who seek to demoralize our protectors will not break the resolve of America's law enforcement. While hate mongers and society's miscreants choose to simplify the issues by damning America's law enforcement, these same men and women who protect us still get up every day, put on their shields, and go out and protect and serve according to their oaths. You see, they have faced evil on a daily basis, and unfortunately, they're not surprised by the disdain for their existence. But they remain good-hearted people nonetheless. They remain our public servants who walk that line between normalcy and evil. They remain our protectors who strike the balance between civility and chaos. Matthew 5:9 tells us that blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Why? Because being a peace officer is not just a job. Being willing to serve others, being willing to work holidays and nights at the expense of your family, being willing to put yourself in danger to protect others, and being willing to lay down your own life for another. It's not a job, it is a calling. And for those who accept that call, thank you. For the families who understand why their sacrifice is necessary, thank you. For the nation that stands up to support those who work tirelessly and thanklessly to keep us safe, thank you. For those protectors who are no longer with us, who have made the ultimate sacrifice on our behalf, who exemplify what it means to love people so much that you would do whatever it takes to get the job done. Thank you so much. Today we gather because we cannot forget their sacrifice. As a nation, we should not entertain those who seek to create division through the spreading of hate. We should not tolerate the separation of our communities. We should not stand for villainizing those who serve as our sheepdogs, those who willingly put themselves in harm's way while protecting our flock every day from the wolves. Instead, we need to come together. We need to heal together. We need to stand together. And we need to pursue positive change together. See, whether we have success stories or failures in our future, rest assured, we are all in this together. Thank you.
Verl C. Winery, Anoka Police Department, end of watch, January 18, 1847. Ernest Zettergren, Anoka County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, December 7th, 1953. Gerald Booz, St. Francis Police Department, end of watch, June 10th, 1967. Curtis Ramsdell, Columbia Heights Police Department, end of watch, July 30th, 1977. Richard Legler, Anoka County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, August 9, 1986. Timothy Bowe, Minnesota State Patrol, end of watch, June 7, 1997. Sean Silvera, Lino Lakes Police Department, end of watch, September 6, 2005.
It's good that we could come together today to remember, to give thanks, to support one another, and to know in our coming together that God is with us and that we are not alone. Please let us pray and receive God's blessing. Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks that we are not alone. We give you thanks that your watch has never ended for our loved ones, for us, and for generations to come. And that you are the God of great sacrifice, of great shepherding, of protection, of love. And that you have called us to protect, to serve, to love, and to support those who have this as their vocation. So we ask you to bless us this day, to join our law enforcement officers here in Anoka County, in the state, throughout the whole nation. That we would join them, that we would be blessed in this calling of peacemaking, of protecting one another, of loving one another. So bless us this day as we go forth. Bless those who grieve the loss of loved ones. Bless us all as peacemakers. Yes, the Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face shine on us and be gracious to us. The Lord look upon us with favor and give us peace. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Today we ask each of you to unite with us as we honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice and remember the families they left behind. I would like to recognize Sheriff James Stewart for his words, Deputy Chief Paul Ireland from Coon Rapids Police Department for reading the names of the Anoka County fallen, members of the Anoka High School Choir for sharing their voices, and Pastor LeKelt for the benediction, and for Joseph Arnold from Andover High School, who will be playing taps. I thank each of you for being part of the ceremony, our ceremony today. After the bagpiper starts playing Amazing Grace, you will be dismissed. Would everyone please rise as you are able?